Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. As we continue with Part 9, The Doctrine of the Countenances, Book 2, The Doctrinal Content of the Kabalah, from the Doctrine and Literature of the Kabalah by Arthur Edward Waite. 4. The Doctrine of the Countenances. The four worlds are also depicted in a single Sephirotic scheme, and this leads us to another order of symbolism established for a distinct purpose, namely the vindication of the relationship between man and God. This vindication is founded, it would be superfluous to say, on God's providence regarding the Jewish nation, as it is recorded in the sacred literature of the First Covenant. There are many respects, however, in which it is not at all peculiar to that nation, and there are indeed traces of a very liberal and almost Catholic doctrine in the books which form the Kabalah. The chosen people is the channel by which all grace and favor are communicated from above, but the gifts of the divine mercy derive through Israel to the world at large. The union of the divine potency with Zion incorporates all things together so that they are as one body, and by this union the whole universe is found to be in joy. Again, it is said that a certain light falls from the supernal which blesses the whole world, so that wrath is no longer found in the universe. All the worlds rejoice and are fulfilled with all perfection. The relations of God with man are, however, those which are delineated in the dealings between Jehovah and Jewry, and the conception of the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob had to be harmonized with the exalted, or at least recondite Godhead of Am Soph and the Sephirotic system. Now, Ein Sof, as such, the Latins Deus, being essentially unknowable and outside the region of correspondence and relationship, enters by manifestation into a quasi-knowable but still unsearchable and transcendent state in the supernal triad of the Sephiroth. Therefore, this triad is taken to represent the entire Sephirotic system of the Atzilutic world. We have seen that this world is regarded as the abode of Adam Kadmon, who is also its sole denizen. In the alternative symbolism with which we are now dealing, this notion of the body of God is replaced by that of a vast countenance, resident in Kether, and termed the macroprosopus. By this head, devoid of all lower conformation, the antithesis of anthropomorphic deity is shadowed forth, and the qualities ascribed to it are also the antithesis of the embodied Jehovah. As Ein Sof is the closed eye of the unknown darkness, so in the vast countenance the eye is open and never closes, for the subsistence of the universe and all its worlds depends upon the light which shines therefrom. In this vast countenance there is neither wrath nor judgment, while all wrath and judgment which operate in the world and in humanity are held in check by the mercy and longanimity of macroprosops, to such an extent that they may be regarded as counterbalanced and annulled in the last disposition. There is no need to expatiate here on the symbolism to which reference must be made again. It is sufficient to note that the first Sephirotic emanation, corresponding to the self-consciousness and abstract thought of the Supreme Being, is a God, described by the Kabbalists in terms which are intentionally the reverse of the salient characteristics ascribed to the Old Testament deity. From macroprosopus through the Sepjira wisdom, under the aspect of a masculine potency, and through the third Sepjira, the feminine Bina. Understanding there is emanated the lesser countenance, or microprosopus, possessing bodily configuration and extended through the six emanations from Chesed to Jesod inclusive. It embraces, therefore, the two inferior triads of the Sephiroth, the worlds of creation and formation. But as Kether in the world of Atzilutli is attributed specially to the vast countenance, so is Tifereth in Briar to the lesser countenance. As longanimity is the characteristic of macroprosopus, so is swiftness to wrath, that of the inferior being Parvam Fatiem Habens, Cito Iraskans. These comparative qualities are typified by length and shortness of face. Microprosopus is regarded by modern occultism as the shadow or reflection of the superior manifestation, but this view is not entirely borne out by Kabbalistic literature. Making due allowance for all inexactitude, it represents in a general manner what is designed to be enforced by the symbolism. And the sole point which we are concerned in establishing here is that microprosopus is the mediator between God and man. It is not, however, in the Christian sense of mediation that of intercession, for wrath, vengeance, and judgment are not in the vast countenance, even as they are not in Ein Sof. The mediation is communicative or sacramental. In the natural order, it is the human conception of deity, to which God condescends and may be said in a sense to verify and even to inform. Conversely, as regarded from above, it is the construction of the divine nature so that its knowledge and its power may be derived to mankind. It is the adjustment of the infinite being to finite possibilities so that the limited may receive a certain measure of the boundless. It is so much of God as man by his constitution and estate is capable of comprehending. It is divine providence leading humanity by an administration suited to humanity, by the way of contest and prize, by the way of kindness and severity, of reward and punishment. God in himself is above all these things, but they are necessary to his froward children. In a word, it is so much of the principle of Newton as would be understood in a village school, namely, the illustration of the falling apple. That this is the significance of the symbolism is evinced further by the Sephirotic allotment of certain divine names which occur continually in the Bible. The affirmation of self-existence and self-consciousness is made in the name which signifies I am that I am, A-H-I-H, and this is referred to Kepha, while the world of Atziluth generally embraces the mysterious name, never uttered, and therefore regarded as incomprehensible and unpronounceable. Jod, he, vow, he. When the Israelite comes to this name in the Bible, he omits it altogether, or substitutes A-D-N-I, Adonai, the Lord. The word which we render Jehovah belongs therefore to the symbolism of the vast countenance, to the God who is not as man is. But Al and its derivatives, Jehovah, or the Lord of hosts, those lesser names of which the contents can be grasped by the human mind and can therefore be uttered, are the names of the lesser countenance. The relation between macroprosopus and microprosopus is the philosophical hypothesis of the correspondence between the absolute as it is and the absolute as conceived by man. The disparity between them registers the inadequacy of all human conceptions of the divinity, fully recognized by every Kabbalist as abounding in that book which he regarded as more divine than any. Like the Sephirotic system, the doctrine of the four worlds and the two countenances is curiously involved, and though in its elements it is exceedingly simple, in its elaborations it is highly technical. As in the single Sephirotic scheme with which we have been dealing here, the first triad of emanations is held to represent the world of Atziluth. So the second triad comprehends Briar, and the third, the world of formation or Yetzirah. Asaya, the fourth world, is contained in Malkuth. Now with microprosopus there is associated the symbol of a bride, who is in fact Malkuth, or the kingdom, in which sense it would follow that the visible creation is the spouse of God, or rather of that lesser divine manifestation which alone communicates with man. The locus sanctorum, the organ of nuptial intercourse, is, however, the place called Zion and Jerusalem, and it is therefore in Israel only that the communication is received. The office of Israel is hence the dispensation of the divine to the world and men. The Doctrine of the Countenances is the subject of special development in the Book of Concealment, and its supplements, being tracts introduced into the Zohar. It was unknown to the Sefer Yetzirah or its early commentators. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment, and if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.